flying into the Charlottesville airport, and they were here at 3, and they shut down the Charlottesville airport at that moment. So they had to go on to Richmond, and they're driving back over here. So we'll start without them, and they will show up, and you'll get to see Nick's brother. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all. You all knew Nick in different kinds of ways. I was going to say that, you can't hear? Okay. I was going to say that Chris wins for having the longest relationship, his brother Chris wins for having the longest relationship with Nick. And the Reuters, wherever you are probably the second longest. They were next door neighbors in Cleveland. He has friends here from college. And one friend from the Army was going to be here, but he had a death in the family that had to go. Some of you folks knew him without a beard. I never did, except for a few moments. And some of you knew him with really long hair, and that's my family. All of us had a music connection with Nick, I think, especially the radio DJs and his listeners, and all of his band friends who are here. Some of you are also his yoga friends, and some of you were his wonderful caretakers at Our Lady of Peace. Thank you so much. At our wedding over 42 years ago, we talked about not knowing what was ahead of us, but that together we were setting off on a journey. On our rings, a single background line represented the ongoing spirit of life, and what appeared to be a dove or a spirit was two lines or lives joining together to be a larger entity. Many years later, we had to get our rings enlarged because of our arthritic knuckles. Apparently, we overdid it. Nick lost his ring in the kudzu along the railroad tracks, found it, and then broke it again. He was bereft, and I hadn't made jewelry in years, so we had another one made. That one is lost in the great depths of the Christopher Center at Our Lady of Peace, along with one of his hearing aids. I thought I had lost my ring in a horse stall, and ironmockers went over that horse stall with a fine-tooth comb or muck rake. It did turn up a couple of years later, safe and sound in the deep, deep pocket of my backpack where I carried my riding helmet and gloves. So I have it. And even now, my hand has grown some more, so it doesn't fit. Our continuing love did. The rings didn't really matter, but our continuing love did. So there we were on a journey, which we thought would last for many years because our parents had lived into their 90s. And what an unexpected trip it has been. In a bit, let's lift up the wholeness of that quirky fellow Nick, remembering the goofy, strong, funny, caring things about him. Lord knows Emily and I need to be reminded of the good memories. But first, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. 7 years ago in January, Nick was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, and our little journey took a mighty turn. In a way, our grieving started then. After a while, Nick was no longer disturbed by his disease and blessedly took so many of the changes in his stride. In that way, he made our journey bearable. And we could usually find a little part of the essential Nick within, even when we weren't sure whether he recognized us as wife and daughter any longer. He knew we were people who loved him, and he responded to the staff who cared for him and loved him. He had music for the longest time. He'd go out to the auditorium to hear groups perform as part of the nursing home swing. And many of you musicians performed and so on, even in that condition too. Even when he couldn't applaud, he was enjoying the music. Emily posted online when he sang the line, "What a Wonderful World," along with Glee this past September. Just a few weeks before he died, we saw Lulu and friends perform, and he sang the first lines of several of their standards. And soon we'll be enjoying his music here. In the last couple of weeks, he was sad. It was hard to stir his funny bone. Our usual call and response ritual, "See you later, alligator," after a while, crocodile, was on vacation. It was a tough time. His friends Charlie and Jan from Cleveland and Emily touched a spark singing with him a couple of days before he died. So yes, music. Nope, it wasn't easy, but our commitment was to care for one another, as we all do, because we were meant to give and receive love. Nick gave life and love to folks around him wherever he was. So welcome.